This is the Marketing Umbrella Podcast, where it's all about getting the information you need from successful leading marketers to build and grow your digital marketing agency. Brought to you by Itamar Shafir, founder and CEO of Umbrella, the technology platform and brand that is powering thousands of marketing agencies around the country. Find him at umbrellaus.com. And now, here's your host, Itamar Shafir.
Welcome to the Marketing Umbrella Podcast, where we talk with successful marketing experts about ways to build and grow your digital marketing agency. Our guest today is a serial entrepreneur with 2 exits behind him. He is currently on his venture called HighLevel. HighLevel is more than an automation marketing company, currently working with 10,000 marketing agencies, powering more than 200,000 SMBs. I'm excited to say hello to Mr. Shaun Clark. Hi, Shaun.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Shaun, we're going to jump into how we help agencies, and you guys are powering 10,000 agencies, so I know exactly that you know how to help small agencies. But why don't you tell the folks just a little bit about your background as an entrepreneur and how you got to starting HighLevel?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So I've always been in the SMB space. I love small businesses. I think they're really the backbone of the economy. They pay better than average. They support the local communities. And so, having a history in SMB and software, I'm a software engineer by trade. It's always kind of been the way I go. But what I discovered when starting HighLevel is, a lot of small businesses, in fact, all small businesses, they try to do marketing themselves, but they really can't do it themselves because they're honestly good at something else. And marketing is not a side gig. It's not a part-time job. It's not a hobby. It's a real vocation. And so what I realized is that agencies are really that secret sauce behind every successful small business. And so once we figured that out, we stopped selling to SMBs at all, and we only work with and only sell to agencies because we know if we truly want to help the small business, we need to help the agency first because they're the people making all the magic behind the scenes.
And tell us a little bit more about how you got started. I know that you started learning engineering, right? And
oh yeah.
And then,
so I was going to college like everybody else. I was going to be a cool software engineer. I mean, I was going to go to Silicon Valley and sleep under my desk and work 80 hours a week. And along the way, my really cool summer job that I was supposed to go back to writing code, there's this thing, I'm pretty old, so there's this thing called the .com crash, and I lost my internship. And I ended up working at, of all things, an answering service, which is sounds super lame, but I really fell in love with it because I got to see how answering missed phone calls for small businesses help those small businesses turn it, in more sales. And so then at the time, we just went off and wrote a ton of code, and I had agents at home and grew it to a really big operation, 400 agents in the United States, and then 5,000 small businesses. So it was a really fun experience.
Amazing. And in HighLevel, you're also the CTO, or are you taking on a different role?
Oh no, I'm the CEO in HighLevel. I have a much better CTO. I'm a terrible software engineer. I like it, but that doesn't mean I'm good at it. And so lucky for me, I've got a very talented CTO.
Okay, that's great. So you've been dealing with small businesses, you've been dealing with marketing in different levels, and now with HighLevel, you've been doing so much to helping, from what I understand, basically helping leads convert into sales. I heard you say it in a different podcast, I think. And
yeah, that's really where we started is, if you look at what every small business has trouble with, what they bring in a marketing agency, the marketing agency, if you're an agency, you've experienced this, you're generating leads because that's what they say they want. And you're all excited and you're paying attention to cost per lead and all that. And then you hand it over on a spreadsheet and you say, hey, look, I did an amazing job. And they say, no, you didn't. These leads are terrible. None of them converted, all this stuff, right? And so we started life converting those leads into customers by automating the nurture process in the middle, which basically just means we automatically follow up with the leads. We get them to book on the calendar using machine learning and AI. And this really helps as an agency. Now you don't have to follow up the leads yourself, and you stop getting fired by your customer because they're happy because you're delivering what they really wanted in the first place, which is really customers, not leads.
So once you started expanding and adding more and more layers into the system, do you still find that the 80-20 of taking a business from a non-successful funnel into a successful funnel is focusing on the lead nurturing process?
Oh, that's still the 99% actually. Everything else that we build is useful, but a lot of it is, it's necessary, but it's still the nurture process where everything breaks down. That is still the sole place where every small business needs to improve. And as an agency, doesn't matter what you do, SEO, PPC, Facebook ads, like whatever, social media posting. At some point, you're hired to create more customers. In order to do that, you better capture some information on those people. And then at that point, in order to ferry them across, you need to nurture them. And if you think your customers are going to do it, you're sorely mistaken.
Yeah, I know it even in-house when we're talking and then we're having conversations with our own internal salespeople, and we're looking at the stats and we're saying, why wasn't this follow-up automated? Why didn't you follow up? I forgot. Why wasn't it automated?
Yeah, there you go. I forgot, or I tried that guy 10 times and he didn't convert and all that stuff, right?
Yeah. But we gave you the script. Why didn't you add it to close? Why didn't you add it to zone? What did you do? Because. And I think it's also, adherence across the board. Once you have a base to one place to kind of control the funnels for everybody, I think that's also very helpful.
Absolutely. You get a lot of visibility is a huge thing, right? I mean, just as an agency, knowing and being able to see like, okay, hold on a second. This person said, I want to give you money. And you said nothing. Well, of course they're not going to convert. Like having the window to that conversation is critical.
So when you look at the system, right, you have 200,000 SMBs, and then you have 10,000 agencies, and the agencies are also using probably HighLevel to do marketing for themselves, right? Not just to onboard. Yes. Right.
Often poorly, by the way. You'd be amazed how many expert marketers just crush it for their clients. But basically, they spend all their time and energy. So I love agencies. They're so like out for their clients and then just neglect themselves all over the place.
So I was just going, you touched exactly on the point that I was going after. And I wanted to ask you how the listeners right now, they're small marketing agencies.
Yeah.
And, outside of actually grabbing them by the ear and saying, do the same for you as you do for your clients, what are you guys doing to kind of push them into, okay, let's get your funnel in order. Okay, let's have you doing A, B, C, D. And what are those ABCs that can 2x, 3x their agency tomorrow?
Totally. So, what we do this across the board. So one, we have all kinds of pre-done sort of templates. We call them snapshots because our system is pretty vast. So full funnels, follow-up sequences, all that stuff. Like, hey, here you go. Here are things you can just copy and paste, put in place, and you're up and running. And then we have an amazing community. So we have like 13,000 of the best marketers on the planet in our Facebook group. You can't get in there unless you buy HighLevel. It's a really good group of people, and there's a ton of coaching that goes on, right? We have live daily Q&A calls where agencies can come in and talk about, what issues they're running into. We bring in all kinds of experts into what we call a spotlight session, where they can actually talk to people who are doing this type of stuff and just see it in action, right? So a lot of people show up and like, hey, here's my funnel, and they'll actually walk through it. The good news, though, is it's not that hard. It's often the same stuff they're doing for their clients run just for their own keywords or for their own ads or for their own whatever, right? And so in all these different ways, we just slowly push these people out. And then we just, I think expose strategies sometimes that people, there's a lot of myth and legend in the marketing world of, well, I'm going to go do a cold email campaign out to a list of 30,000 people I scraped off Google and I'm going to be a millionaire, right? Like maybe that doesn't work as well as you think. But instead, you take those 5 clients you have and you ask all of them for a referral and maybe even incentivize the referral. And boom, you're going to pop out with 20 clients tomorrow a lot faster than your cold email campaign is going to get you blocked for spam, right? So there's a lot of really good sharing and learning in the community.
Yeah. So templating to make their life easier, sharing, learning, educating to just take them where they don't know how to reach. And so I think those are a lot
of times it's like seeing your peers, right? It's like, well, I mean, having someone actually show up and being willing to get on a call and say like, here it is, like, here's my results and here's what I'm doing.
Right.
Like you can actually see it, right? Versus, some course creator or somebody pitching like, click here, buy my course, become a millionaire. I think it's sometimes better or more useful to see somebody doing it in the field.
Okay. So let's do a test. I'm a small agency. I'm coming to you. I'm saying, Shaun, maybe I'm not starting out. Maybe, I'm 2 years into the business, but I'm pretty small and I have a limited budget. I have some marketing budget, but it's limited. And I'm asking you, Shaun, tell me, where do I need to put my time and money tomorrow to help me double my company in the next year?
Yeah. So there's a really interesting thing here. So most people have, those types of agencies tend to have an existing funnel. And it's like, I'm generating some leads and I'm bringing them on and I'm getting X number of people to jump on a call. But the punchline is almost always, I'm selling a multi-$1,000 a month product, right? And that's actually where most people are getting the no. right? And so our goal here is to just increase the yeses, so that way we can get to even bigger yeses down the road. And it's really simple. It's just a value ladder approach. So with HighLevel, because we have all these software tools, what we're telling people is really simple. Go ahead and pitch them a $300 a month product that's all digital, that you can take the current features of HighLevel and actually sell them under it's all white label, right? So it's all under your brand. So, and these are digital tools that they already need. These are reputation management, two-way text messaging, Google My Business messaging, all that stuff. And, here's what happens. You say, hey, and you're selling the same thing. Do you want higher ranking on Google? Do you want more 5-star reviews? Do you want leads coming in every single day? It's like, yes, yes, yes. And then it's like, great, it's $300 a month. And they're like, whoa, that's like the same price as my internet bill. Sold. And you get the yes, you get them in the door. You throw that digital solution in the first week. You start proving that you have value. And guess what? Who are you? You're a person that I took a bet on for an amount of money I could say yes to, whereas before I couldn't because it was too expensive. You've proven that you actually delivered something to me. So now I trust you, right? Because you've built this bridge of trust. So now you come back to me and you say, hey, would you like to do more? And they say, oh yeah, I'd love more leads, or I'd love more business. And you're like, okay, great. Let's talk about a more traditional digital marketing campaign that will cost thousands of dollars a month. But now you've already said yes to me. So the likelihood you say yes again is much, 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 much greater. So that play right there is the killer app for agencies to really grow if they've in that 2-year phase that you're talking about.
Okay, cool. So kind of a loss leader approach, or maybe a small
not a loss leader approach. Okay, be careful about that.
I'm sorry.
It's a mega profitable approach. Yeah. It's a 90% profit. It's way more profitable than the services. It's all digital. It's very scalable. It's beautiful, actually. It's just new, and it's something most people haven't thought of yet. And this is actually where I think agencies go in the next 5 years.
Yeah, I'll take it back. Said loss leader. What I meant is a low sum, kind of a lead in through the door product. Okay,
yeah,
makes
exactly.
sense.
Foot in the door. Perfect. Yes.
So that's let's say scale phase 1. Okay, you're 2 years old. You do that. And would you say that's also scale phase 2? Let's say you're 5 years old. You're there's 7 figures.
No this podcast is brought to you by Umbrella. Have an agency? Check out umbrellaus.com to grow it today.
Yeah. You can add this on to everyone. You can add this on. This works for everyone. This works for day 1. This works for day 1,287. Like this works across the board. Your current existing agency, you've got a bunch of customers. You just, you don't want to, I run into these people all the time. They want to expand, but they don't want to hire a bunch of staff. And I say, great. Just take the SaaS play, as we call it, take that software piece, throw it on your existing client base. Just do the math, 300 times 50 clients. Wow, isn't that a lot more money coming through at a 90% profitability, no more hires to add? Isn't that an amazing amount of money? And bingo, yes, it is. And so it doesn't really matter where you're at. It ultimately is just an accretive product across the board. And it's sticky. So software is very sticky. It lowers your churn rates. Like it's actually quite honestly a cure-all for pretty much any agency at any level, and something they all should be doing.
Okay. And so, but when they go, for example, and they sell reputation management, let's say from HighLevel, and it's white label, then they need to go head to head with Bird's Eye, or they need to go head to head with, I don't know, you guys are doing so many things that compete with so many products. You're doing it very well, but the small business, a lot of times, a small agency, they don't have the brand to kind of walk into the game and say, this is why we're better. So how do you help them with that? How do you help them?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have all kinds of sales training, all kinds of sales training material, and we'll even do the setup for you. So like we have a white label setup team, so that if you're like, oh, you're concerned about the tech, we'll get on the phone with your customer and actually set it all up. And, I think this whole brand concept, like the number of businesses who have a clue who Bird Eye is or Podium, it's pretty close to zero. What a business wants is they want someone who's going to come in and care about them. And they're going to want somebody who's going to be willing to come and talk to them, see them, meet with them, really be engaged with them. And if you think about all these other people, ultimately they're not engaged. And even before we get into that concept, the other big thing that we do for agencies is we replace your existing stack. So think about all the different tools you have right now, Calendly and this and that, and you glue them together with Zapier and 7 different things. Forget, even if you never get to the SaaS play, we're replacing all those tools. We're putting them in one spot for you, and we're making it multi-tenant, which means you can have unlimited sub-accounts with us. You can have unlimited clients in the system. So even if all you ever do is replace your existing tools right there, we save you a truckload of money and make you a lot more scalable.
I agree. I agree, and I love that that insight that you had about most small businesses wouldn't know who Bird's Eye or Podium are.
No, absolutely not.
I agree with you. I agree with you. So okay, so we talked about agencies that can scale. Let's talk for a second about agencies that are starting out, not yet in the scaling mode. Let's say they just started out like 6 months ago. And they're thinking, oh, should I invest in my brand? Should I invest in my website? Should I put more time in reputation management, content marketing? I heard so much about it, but I'm just one person, and I have a lot of money and a lot of time.
Totally.
Where do I focus, Shaun?
Local. This is a very unpopular, I feel like it's a very unpopular opinion, but here's the thing. If I was starting a digital agency today, I would get the basics in place, right? Yes, you need to have a website, probably just one-page website. You probably should get your Google My Business listing, take a couple photos, have a business card, I don't know, whatever. But as soon as you get the basics, stop messing around on the internet and walk out your front door, because the vast majority of the most durable agencies I know are almost always local. So the guys who say to me, I don't have a churn problem, right? I don't lose customers. They're almost always local. And it's simple. They're able to create a trust factor with their local customers that just cannot be kept on the internet in the same way. And does it not scale? Well, sure. I mean, that's true. I mean, at some point, 50 or 100 customers, yeah, sure. You could make the argument it's time to go online. But here's the great news. You're not limiting yourself by starting there. And in fact, if you go out and look at a lot of the Bird Eyes and the Podiums that you just talked about, like Podium specifically, how did they get started? The guy walked off his college campus and walked around all the businesses locally and sold the product to those local businesses. And when he ran out of people to sell to, or he couldn't walk any farther, that's when he went online, right? He proved the model locally. And that's exactly what you should do as an agency. Just walk around, go to the local BNI meeting or whatever in the Chamber of Commerce and all that. You're going to create a lot more trust by being someone that they just know is there when they need you.
I agree. Another point I hear a lot of small businesses, a lot of agencies asking, and I asked different people, they give me different answers. I wanna see what you think. I heard the advice of when you start, go niched. Right?
Yeah,
find a niche, find a couple of niches.
Disagree. I humbly disagree. Yes, absolutely. Because again, if you're new, right? I think the reality is that, again, going local, I mean, you could niche locally. You could be in a massive metro and that kind of thing. But I honestly don't know that's required. I think the vast majority of people need roughly about the same things. Now, going niche, is that something that can be done? Absolutely. And I think the biggest players out there are niche, right? But even within those players, be very cognizant of the following fact. They're only working with the top 10% of that niche, because in order to get there, they're charging $5,000 a month plus retainers. They're only talking to the biggest, baddest of those people. I know lots of those guys and gals. They're super successful, but they would say 90% of the leads that they get, they actually can't help. They actually have to say, sorry, you got to go elsewhere because you're too small. And the reason so that is what a niche agency ultimately looks like. I know I'm in the dental space, I know I'm in the HVAC space, and it's always the same gig though. In order to do that, you got to get really, really, really big. So I think if you're just starting, no way, don't niche out, walk out your front door.
Great answer. So, okay. So it's part of HighLevel and it's part of this conversation. I also know you guys are doing a lot of content. You probably give advice nonstop, whether it's, on videos or podcasts to small businesses, to agencies. Can you remember a point in time, you as an entrepreneur in the marketing space, do you remember a point in time where you got an advice that really made a big difference for you?
Heck yeah. I mean, I can remember when there are three co-founders at HighLevel, but when we began, there were two. And it was me and my CTO, and we were going around writing software because that's what we do, trying to sell to small businesses. And we would sign up, they would get on a demo call, we would show them the software, the business would be thrilled to death. They'd be like, "Here's, take my money." And then we'd sign them up, and then 2 weeks later they'd cancel. And we were just like, "I don't get it. What the heck?" And we'd be like, "What's wrong with you?" And they would be like, we love it, but it's a little too complex for us. We're not trying to get it going." And, thank goodness, because I one day got a phone call from some crazy guy who was at a marketing agency. And he's like, "Hey, listen, we have a co-customer in common. I'd love to see the product. I'd love to see what you're doing for our customer." Turns out, well, that guy happened to be who's now our third co-founder. he's the guy who gave me advice. Hey, stop messing around with the small businesses because they don't know what they're doing. Work with agencies. So that piece of advice built our whole business. And if it wasn't for that guy, we wouldn't be here.
That's great. And do you think agencies can take that and use that as well? Do you think agencies can use their type of resellers or influencers as well?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, I think that's what, at the local level, I think that's what chambers of commerce and that kind of thing. And we think about it as channel sales. And so like, even if you did want a niche, right, you should start thinking, okay, wait, if I'm in dentistry, who works with dentists? Who already is in front of a lot of dentists? Plumbers, great. Who already speaks to a lot of plumbers, right? I think that is a fantastic strategy, or even going the course route. So if you can't find an influencer, go out and create a course, how to market your plumbing business online for some low price. Use that as a way to pay for your ad spend and to bring people in to teach them something for free, and teach it as best as you possibly can, because the vast majority of them will look at it and be like, wow, that's harder than I thought. I really probably ought to get some help. And then just make sure in your course it says, if you need any help, ping me here. Bingo. Right. Great way to bring in customers.
Excellent. So we're getting into the last part of the interview, and in the last part we have a rapid Q&A. And yeah,
I'm not very rapid, so we'll see how I do.
You're pretty fast. I think you'll do fine. And
okay.
I think, but what I wanted to say is the questions are not edgy by any means, but if you feel uncomfortable by any of them, just say pass. Okay.
Okay. I'll try my best.
It's a buildup. I'm
ready. I'm ready.
Okay. Did you get along with your parents growing up?
Yes.
Do you have siblings?
No.
Do you have a pet?
Yes.
I know you have a kid. How old were you when your first kid was born?
32-ish. 31, 32, right in there.
I think he's 5. I'm not sure. No,
he's 8. I know that. That I'm sure of. I just can't do math that fast.
When do you wake up?
5 a.m.
When do you go to bed?
9 to 9:30.
Ideal vacation?
One without my cell phone.
Anywhere, just take me. Are you a man of faith?
I'm agnostic. I'm open. I'm open to options. We'll see how it goes.
Excellent, Shaun. Well, you were amazing. Shaun and I also had a conversation about like 15, 20 minutes before. You showed me the platform. It's massive. I'm going to dig more into it. It's absolutely, it's a jewel. And I think you guys should check it out. Go to gohighlevel.com. I'm saying the right URL. If anybody knows who owns HighLevel.com, give me a call. But so far we're gohighlevel.com. gohighlevel.com. And also, can they have access to some resources, information, podcasts? Yeah, absolutely. YouTube? So, I mean, I think if anybody always asks us like, well, where should I go to learn more? Just go to YouTube and search HighLevel, one word. We've got a great channel because it's not just here's software features, right? It's also all of our interviews with some really great, smart people, not who inside our atmosphere, outside our atmosphere, just a lot of good learning from a marketing agency perspective. Amazing. So guys, go to gohighlevel.com. Check out their software. It's amazing. And also check out the resources, go to YouTube, check all the information. And Shaun, thank you. Hey, thanks for having me. It was great to be here.
Thank you for tuning into another episode of the Marketing Umbrella Podcast, where we provide the information you need from successful leading marketers to build and grow your digital marketing agency. Your host has been Itamar Shafir, founder and CEO of Umbrella, the technology platform and brand that is powering thousands of marketing agencies around the country. Find him at umbrellaus.com.